sack that fool. Hit him, 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 hit him. Smash him up, watch that move. Went too swift, can't catch these dudes. Can't hit him, 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 hit him. Listen, 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 hit him, listen. This Eagles talk, this talk Eagles. Philly bleed green, it's from your people. Fly, Eagles, fly. Let's beat the squad. Big Pat Shell and Dante the Dark Child. Drop the stats on them, drop the facts on them. Spur King, baby, let's get it on.
Hey, fam, it's your man Dante the Dark Knight, and welcome to another edition of Eagles Talk. Upon further review, where we take a look at the game just passed and recap what we saw, what we liked, what we didn't like, and I got a feeling there's going to be a lot of what we didn't like because we didn't like the outcome of that game. So we're going to talk about it all. We have my co-host, Nichelle. She's going to be bright and sunny. I'm not going to be so bright and sunny. I'm not.
I didn't sign up.
I'm mad.
Right. I didn't say I was mad, but I didn't sign up to be bright and sunny either.
All right. We're going to talk about it, though. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for staying with us on Monday night. It was excruciating to have to do that show after that demoralizing loss there. But, hey, it comes with the territory. We are true Eagles fans to the core, and you guys are also. Thanks for hanging in there with us. And let's talk about it today. So without further ado, let's get right down to it. You are listening to Eagles Talk, the most unique Eagles coverage show around us by Eagles fans for Eagles fans. And here on Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team. That is our Philadelphia Eagles. And we like to do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. And I need to go
grab my glass really quick. Pause.
All right, go get Greg. Yeah. So she's going to go grab a glass. But while she does that, I am, I'm partaking in, I'm going a little stronger tonight. So it's not just apple juice tonight. I'm going to do some, I got to do some energy drink. So I got my my Monster Rehab, and we're going to talk about what we saw on Monday night. Also, we're going to talk about the upcoming game on Sunday. What does this mean? What does Monday night mean for the possibilities of Sunday's game against the New Orleans Saints, who are playing at a high level right now, putting a lot of points on the board. So we have to discuss that and discuss the ramifications of Monday night's loss and how it could possibly affect now, almost makes this week a must win because we're leaking oil, 1-1. You can't get, I know it's a long season, don't get me wrong, but you don't want to get too far behind too quick. And at the beginning of the season, you looked at the schedule, and that's why they're preseason predictions, and you judge your schedule based on the team's performance the year before. And in doing that, I thought the Saints were going to be someone that we could take care of easy, but once you see them in action this year, you know that is not the case. So we have Nichelle back.
I told y'all that.
They're not for play. The Saints are not for play. So our co-host Nichelle has come back. What are you partaking in, Nichelle? Pat is in the house.
Yeah.
Put Pat up here. All right,
How
Pat.
am I taking it in?
I mean, what shot are you partaking in? That's what I mean.
Oh, what shot? No shots. It's wine today.
We're just going to do wine.
The glass.
And Pat, what are you doing? You doing anything?
Yeah, I'm doing. Hi, how's everybody doing out there?
Hey, Pat.
Very monotone tone I'm giving to you right now. Shout out to my grandpa. All right, so I'm finishing up this bourbon.
Woodford Reserve. All right, so Woodford Reserve, wine, and a little Monster. So everybody, let's do this and salute our team. So down the hatch, 3, 2, 1.
No applause.
No applause. All right, the applause is coming.
Did it go?
You're now listening to
All right, that was horrible.
All right, we gotta do it again. Hold on.
It's so lackluster today, fellas.
Yeah.
Let me try one more again. Because sometimes you just gotta do it one more time.
No applause.
All right. Well, let me figure it out. Let's do the show.
All right. Okay. All right. So before we get into that, let me just bring our fourth co-host. That's you guys in the room. And the first person in the room on Facebook is Tremont. Tremont says, hi, Eagles fan. What's up? And Dion's here early. Whoa. Dion says, yo, time to get Bill Belichick in here.
Oh, now we're being hyperbolic.
He comes right in at it. Walter is the third person in the room. He says, what's good, Eagles Talk? Don't forget to like, share, and follow Eagles Talk on Facebook, IG, and YouTube. Yeah, go to those platforms. And on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the station. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get into it, man. The last we saw our heroes, they were, can we still call them that? Last we saw our heroes. Okay. Last we saw our heroes, they were walking off dejected, as well as all of us, fans in the stadium, those that watch from home. We were walking off dejected and just as surprised also. We couldn't believe what we had just witnessed. They had given up a lead, a touchdown in less than a minute to lose a game to the Atlanta Falcons, who at that point had only scored 15 points. It was demoralizing. And just because of that 1 point loss, all of the mistakes gets magnified, right? All the mistakes get magnified because I'm telling you, prior to that drive, I had a lot of good things to point to, right? I gotta look, not that those bad things didn't happen, but the narrative was different when I thought we were going to win. But then when you lose, you come on here and all of the things that went wrong seem to be magnified. And it's been debated all week about the 3rd and 3 pass. And I voiced my opinion on that on Monday night. Elliott Shore Parks argued with the whole entire afternoon team, with my side actually, about whether to throw or run that ball in that situation. I still stick firm. I think it should have been a run. I'm not hating on the call. It should have been executed, but it was not. And just because of that possibility is why I wouldn't have ran it. Not that you don't call a play because how about this doesn't work? No, but I would have never put us in a position for the clock to stop. That's what I wouldn't have did. I would have ran the ball. So after seeing or having some time to let it sink in, guys, what are your thoughts on that 3rd and 3 call at the end of the game? The Eagles' next to last offensive possession.
The pass to Saquon, right?
Yeah.
I feel as though they should have ran it. There was a couple of times that they threw the ball when they could have run it. And Saquon's going, if it's a first down that he has to get, he's going to get it with running the ball. You don't have to toss to him. He has a whole bunch of drop passes. So let's not push the envelope. Let's break that glass when needed. Just feed him the ball. No, give us motions, give us different looks, but let him run the ball. Limit the passes to him. And sometimes I feel like they were treating him like a third receiver in these first 2 weeks. And overall, this was a team effort. This was a team effort of F-ups. There's no one person you could really point to, whether it's the coaching decision, the play, getting beat off your route, Devontae, and I love you. Jalen, your bad decisions. I love you too. Defense not showing up. Defensive line was non-existent. It was just, Vic Fangio got out-coached. 34 seconds, my man. 34 seconds. But wait, I'm not going to discount the fact that the refs missed a crucial call when they were trying to do that snap to draw them off sides. They actually did draw them off sides, and the ref never called it.
The ref never called it because so as a defensive player, you can cross a line of scrimmage. Now, if you entice an offensive lineman and he moves, then it's a defensive offsides. If the offensive lineman does not move, you can reset on your side of the ball. That's
And
why
Sirianni was so hot on that same play
because he knew that particular play should draw one of their guys, and he probably already told the offensive line, if you see a guy motion towards you, come towards you, reach your hand out and touch him. You know who's a pro at that? Jason Peters. Jason Peters is a pro at that. Matter of fact, Cam Jurgens last year was a pro at that. Jordan Mailata in that situation, he did not. He held his water, and you could see it in Dallas Goedert's face. He was upset because he saw the guy Matthew Judon come across the line of scrimmage. That was game over at that particular time. What I ran that same play, Dark Knight, Nichelle. If you had to put me on with Saquon Barkley, if you had to put me on a lie detector test, I would probably fail because yes, I want them to run a ball. I know the percentages of if you run the ball, you run a clock down. But at the same time, the same thing you just said, Michelle, 34 seconds, which is freaking unbelievable, right? We don't get the first down. We still kick the ball. We still run the ball down. There's 40 seconds left. They scored in 34 seconds. That makes absolutely no sense on an NFL team on this level. When you have these many big names that should be playing in unison with each other, Slay, Q, Fangio, you got to understand what you have at stake. You have a better defensive backfield than they have receivers. Why are we playing a soft zone? All you do, play up on your corners, move your safeties back, make the flipping tackle. This is really unacceptable. But for it to be week 2, for this soft defense to finally say, you know what, we cannot hinge on our names alone. For these guys that need to step up, because now you don't have a Fletcher Cox, you don't have a Jason Kelce, a Hassan Reddick. You are those names. And week in and week out, if you don't perform, you're going to be in the names of the Mike Mamulas, the really trashy players that we had on this side of the ball, that we had all the hopes and dreams that they were going to be stars. Like for Jalen Carter to be late for a practice session or a film session, right? You are a professional. I tell this to my employees, you are a professional. You have a job to do. You get paid to play a fun game. Be there on time, make the plays, and don't half-ass it, Jordan Davis, Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat. Where's the damn pressure at? There is nothing that I see from our front line besides Brandon Graham and a little bit of Marlon Williams, right? Milton Williams, I'm sorry. That gets me to think that we don't need to go out there and buy guys. 2022, we had an issue. We couldn't stop the run. What they do? Went out there, got Sue and Levar Joseph. 2024, we can't run. We can't pass. We can't stop the run. We can't get after the passer. We need to go out there and buy some guys.
My problem is this with that whole philosophy, and I'm not even disagreeing with you, because it seems like that's what works for us, is getting these guys on these 1-2 year contracts just to get us to through the playoffs and Super Bowl contenders. But on the other side of this, the coaching inconsistencies are glaring because there is no development happening right now. There are, as I don't know if you saw the Brady interview when he's like, there's no more football program, almost like a curriculum and education on how they introduce you into the game, how they introduce
you as a QB,
as a starter, how these, rookie quarterbacks shouldn't be even playing their first year. They should be under tutelage. They should be learning. Same thing with these young guys they want to throw out on the line. But even with that, you've had these guys for a couple of years and they're still kind of at the same wavelength they were when they came in here, Jordan Davis and all these boys from Atlanta.
I agree. I agree.
Where's the
We talked
coaching
about it.
at? Where are these players getting better at that are young? That's what I want to see.
So I do blame it on coaching. I do get that whole thing because there is a whole aspect of coaching these young players up to be better than what they were. Show them the techniques, get them to understand that leverage wins these games. You can't at 6'6", 360 pounds stand straight up. You are the bigger guy on the field. All you have to do is get leverage, stay low, and push behind your pass. Don't stand up on your pass because an offensive lineman like a Jason Kelsey or any other like a Limstrong from the Falcons is going to push you around. You know, it's sumo wrestling. Sumo wrestlers are 400 plus pounds, but the one that gets the lowest, the guy that's the biggest all the doggone time. And sometimes you could teach these kids how to be better athletes. You can teach them how to play the position. You can coach them up 100%, just like what Brady said. He can coach you up to run this route. But if you run it lazy, I'm not getting you the ball.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with defensive players. If you're not giving it your all every single down, it's not always on the coach. The player got to take some pride in what you do.
Yep.
These players got to take some pride in what you do. You got to be prideful. You're on the highest level there is. Some people dream to get here and never make it. You're there. You're either going to have a good name or you're going to have a terrible, forgettable name.
All right, so y'all opened it up. Defensive line suck. That's all I heard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just succinctly. I'm a coach. I'm succinct, and I'm succinct in giving my summaries. Defensive line suck. They can't stop anything on the ground, man, and it's frustrating. Not only that, they suck all the way around because there's two aspects, right? Your defensive line, you stop the run. And you put pressure on the quarterback. They suck in both of those categories. So I don't know what needs to be, but I tend to agree with Nichelle about the coaching. Coaching is not just the scheme. A big part of that is player development. These young guys come in with oozing with potential, but it's up to the coaching staff to continue to develop them. They're not finished products when they come to the NFL. They have to learn how to play the pro game. So the coaches, they have to be teachers and help them to be, to reach their potential to become the best versions of themselves on the field. And I don't know if that's happening. Now, I hope that was going to take place with, I just assumed that it would happen with a Vic Fangio coming in because he's not a young guy. Like I probably would understand if a young defensive coordinator came in here and he wasn't as great a player development coach as someone, but I expected and just assumed that a Vic Fangio coming in with over 30 years of experience would be one that would be into player development. And I know the jury's out because, he's only had these guys for, a month and a half, 2 months or whatever. So the jury's out, and he came in and he called a spade a spade. He said that those two tackles had to get in shape. He said Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter had to be in shape and ready to carry a heavier load this year because he expected them to be on the field for a lot of snaps. So I think his plan is still in the works, but they still got a ways to go. They do, and we saw it on Monday night. They are not good against the run. I've heard in the media, and I think it was an accurate adjective used for them, Seth or Ike Reese, soft. Hugh, I think Hugh even might have said it, soft. They look soft. Our defensive line looks soft.
They do.
I describe after a play or during a play the body language of Jalen Carter on a play, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I was struggling to get the adjective, but after I heard Hugh say it on Monday, I was like, that's the adjective I was looking for last night when I was describing. He looked soft. The play wasn't even over, and he wasn't fighting anymore. He had been blocked, but it still wasn't over. He wasn't down on the ground, and this guy looked like he wasn't engaged anymore. And I'm like, yo, what the effort? Where's the effort? Like, they have gotten to toughen up. They got to toughen up. They have to toughen up. We have got to get better play along that defensive line. That's just point blank. We have got to.
I wanted to bring up also the, Ike Reese's and the Seth Joyners of the world. I don't think they were sold on his style of defense from the rip, just from being in the league long.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not to be discounted either. I think we all had expectations because of his veteran status as a coach, but the players, the OG players, seem to thought like, nah, he's still not that. He's not Jim Johnson. You feel
He's
me?
not going to be Jim Johnson.
He's not Buddy Ryan.
Correct. Correct.
And I think we so long for a Jim Johnson, Buddy Ryan defense because we got used to that we haven't realized for years now we haven't had that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We haven't had that. So the only thing that's going to send a spark in Philly fans will be the day we actually get a coach that's known for that and it's like that. So we're going to have to just kind of pack our patience this year because don't expect to see that from a Vic Fangio defense, unfortunately.
Nah, not at all. The thing about this Vic Fangio defense, you need to have big, powerful outside linebackers because they not only do they need to play the run, they're good pass rushers and they can drop back in coverage. Your inside backers are more or less guys that go after the ball, i.e. Devin White. Another healthy scratch. That's something going on. That was something said in the practice. That was something that he said and upset the coaches. That's personal right now. With a Bryce Huff who's getting $51 million, who is 6 foot, that doesn't have the same power as Brandon Graham. You have to be mechanically sound to attack these left and right tackles. He can't do that. He can't set an edge. He can't impose his will against the quarterback because he can't get off the ball. It was so many times when you go back and look at the film and only looked at it once that he was slow off the ball and slipped himself down into a position where all the offensive tackle really had to do, if he wanted to, was just lay down on him. Literally. You can't have this in this type of defense because, first of all, 3-4 is soft, period. It has its holes. And you're running under the philosophy of a Vic Fangio who you don't have the personnel to run it for. Things got to change. Or we're going to have games about this all year.
All right, let me go to a comment here. Stan Mason says, defensively, our secondary sucks. It's that simple. They talk about the real... Let's just talk about the real problem. They can't tackle, and everything caught goes for extra yards or a TD. Speak to that.
So let me give you some insight really quickly, because I was very upset about this. CJ Gardner-Johnson was brought in here to solidify our defensive backfield with Reed Blankenship, and all the time I say we need to get Justin Simmons because Reed Blankenship I think could be a potential linebacker here. I don't see him as a safety, but that's neither here nor there. The biggest tackle of the night, the biggest hit of the night, was the C.J. Gardner-Johnson tackle on Bijan Robinson to stop them to get the ball back to the offense. But with that being said, the defensive line, when you're allowing a Kirk Cousins who cannot move, who's a statue in the freaking pocket, 3 seconds to sit back there and look to his left, look to his right, look to his left, then come back to the middle and make a pass. You put your defensive secondary in so much peril that yes, you're gonna have these completions, you're gonna have these mess-ups, because now we can't depend on my defensive front to do the doggone job. When the defensive front is doing their job, it takes so much weight off the defensive backfield. The defensive backs can play more freely.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to continue to look down into the box, and they can all hook onto their man. But when the defensive front is not playing well, the eyes of the safety now is stuck on the middle of the field where the run at, and when they should be dropping back for the pass. It all coincides with each other. That's football in a nutshell. If you do your job, you do your job. You worry about your job. You worry about your job. I don't have to worry about your job. I could play my position much quicker and be more reactive than anything else. But when I got to worry about what he's doing, because he's not doing it right, he's getting blown off the ball. I'm not doing my job.
I agree.
All right, well, let's end this quarter here.
And that's the end of the quarter.
How that's
That's better. Turn it up just a tad bit next time.
Let me do
All
one
right,
again.
so you
Let me do
are.
one more again. Let me do one more again.
And that's the end of the quarter.
All right, that's cool.
All
right, you're listening to Eagles Talk, the most unique Eagles coverage show around. That's by Eagles fans, for Eagles fans. And here on Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team. That is the Philadelphia Eagles. We do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. So tonight, Pat is doing the Woodford Reserve. Nichelle is sipping on some wine. And I'm so damn mad, I'm doing a monster. All right, so here we go. Everybody, to our Philadelphia Eagles, down the hatch. 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the second quarter.
All right, second quarter. So the defense is. Let me go back a little bit because we talk about wanting to recapture the Jim Johnson days. No, and I've been letting this go because, especially in the Super Bowl year of 22, the defense was, at least on paper, they were great. Third most sacks in history of the league and all that. But I have never been a 3-4 fan, right? Let me put that out there. I've never been a 3-4 fan. I think that, at least in my eyes, the identity of the Eagles defense historically has always been a 4-3, right? And are we at the point where we need to get back to our identity? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's too late now. We got to ride this out. It's too late now. I get
for
that.
the long term, yes. For the long term, yes. They need to find the next Jim Johnson, period, or this city is going to revolt about this defense year after year. This is not sustainable to have a defense that's soft year after year. It's not. First of all, it's not Philly football.
Right.
It's not even our identity. You feel me?
Yeah, and that brings me to another point, because I was going to say, like, we have talked about, and somebody put in the chat, we talked about Fangio we've been running a form of Fangio's defense for the last 2 or 3 years, and we finally have Vic Fangio himself. So he's the architect of the scheme that we've been running, that Gannon was running, that Desai attempted to run, and now we have him. Is it time for us to forget the Vic Fangio system and grab a Jim Johnson disciple, for Christ's sake? Are they out there? Are there Jim Johnson disciples out there? I know a couple of them are head coaches now. I know McDermott is a head coach. And then Andy has the other one down there, his DC. But can we get somebody off the Jim Johnson tree? Maybe that'll help us out.
I hate to be the one to break the bad news to you, but most of the Jim Johnson disciples either dead, retired, or gone. NOLA was a Jim Johnson disciple. He was, he was a special teams coach. He's not coming here.
I know.
The coach for the Baltimore Ravens and the brothers, the Harbaughs, they were here. They're not coming back here. The thing about it is that we had somebody. We had somebody in the ranks. We had somebody in the ranks.
I don't need a first fruit. I don't need a first generation removed. You're talking about people that first generate right under Jim Johnson. Mm-hmm. How about the people under them? I'll look for a second generation Jim Johnson disciple. All right, Spags, McDermott, they coached under him, so that they're first generations. But what about the coaches under them? They have to have that same philosophy. they're not dead. They're not, you know what I'm saying? They're not dead. Where are they? I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Hopefully, maybe one day we can have that. But right now, we have Vic Fangio, and this defense is not looking like it's not passing the eye test. And Monday night, it didn't pass any test because it actually helped cost us a game. Now, prior to that, like I said, going into, prior to giving up that touchdown, I was looking at making the narrative work for the defense, because I was happy with the fact that they had only given up 15 points at that point, and I was going to celebrate that, because that's no small feat. Giving up 15 points, only one touchdown, that's no small feat. So I was going to give them credit for that, but then they gave up the damn touchdown, and all the glaring holes and mishaps and everything that happened on defense, you couldn't hide. You couldn't hide anymore. So this is what we have to deal with, and this is what we saw on Monday. And I like what I heard coming out of the locker room, that Jalen spoke to the team, and obviously he shut it down. Whatever he said, he shut it down, because nobody said anything after that, not even coaches. So no one spoke after him.
That's a leader.
That's a leader. So I'm hoping that lights a fire under these guys, because I heard D-Jack on his podcast make a statement, and I liked it. He said, we're a mediocre great team. Well, no, he said we're a mediocre team with great players at this particular point. That's what he said. We're a mediocre team with great players. We're
going 60 miles an hour with our Lamborghinis. Make sense.
We got our Bugattis. We brought a Bugatti. We got a $2 house.
We got a bad engine.
Like
it has a refurbished engine.
The sad thing about it is, at one point we did have Denard Wilson, who was the defensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans, who was a big part in their defense for Baltimore Ravens last year, right? His philosophy worked. We had him in house.
Yeah, we did.
When Gannon left, instead of just promoting the side, you had everybody loved Denard Wilson, and he was supposed to be the next big thing, and we let him go. So that's the problem. The problem is not necessarily, Vic Fangio, Sirianni. It's our GM, who I love. Don't get me wrong. Our GM and our owner going after names instead of looking in-house to the great people that we have here. We're losing these great people because they want these big names. Now, it's the second game of the year. This whole defense, this whole offense, this whole Philadelphia Eagles has an opportunity to change the whole narrative and surprise a lot of people. But at this point, I agree with DJ. This is a mediocre great team. Like that statement is true. Because if you look at the players, you have greatness there. This team could be great, but their play is mediocre. They play like the game is already run when they step on the field. Such is not the case.
Well,
yeah, I agree, and I am also. I'm also sticking to my guns about my statement on the path to success for this team this year. It doesn't change, right? The path to success for this team is our offense has got to carry the heavy load. They have got to, and it's even more evident. I was hoping that the defense would be much improved from last year and could lend a hand, but it still remains that this offense has to carry the heavy load if we're going to have any type of success. They have got to perform up to their potential.
Yeah, because they are the most talented side of the ball. And so that's what we're going to have to rely on, unfortunately. And it sucks for them that all eyes on them and the pressure's on them, but it really is. They're going to have to continuously put up 30 points to win games. Period. Plus 30 points plus, because they already know the defense is definitely giving up 21 points and giving up a touchdown in under a minute if it comes down to that.
Yes.
Look, I am.
So you got to be up by more than the touchdown, or at least by, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the game, because your defense is not going to ever be able to hold it down if they keep playing. If they keep playing like this, but they got time to change our minds. But how they're playing at week 2 is concerning. Hey.
Yep. Yo, what's up, brother?
Yeah,
brother Polmart. What's up, brother Polmart? That's brother Polmart from Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's bringing the grandfather in.
That's a great comment up there on the screen. Offense has to score 30 plus a game and win the time of possession.
That's right.
And I don't think that those things are impossible to do.
No,
not with the talent that we have, and and especially the running game. I don't think that we utilize that enough in that game, especially down at the end of the game. That 3rd and 3 should have been a run. And with time of possession in mind, with running the clock down in mind, that's why you give it to Saquon down there. And I probably would have ran him 2 times.
Right.
I would have ran him 2 times.
Should have been a run.
Yeah.
I'm like, he just gashed him 8-9 yards. I'm sorry. I get a ball to Saquon on 4th and 4. What's the problem?
I would say something very controversial, right? I think this loss is a loss that we need. And I hope it's the loss that we need for the players to wake up, the coordinators to wake up, to say, you know what? These situations I need to and must be better. Don't say we, say I have to be better.
They got to look themselves
3rd and 3. Yes, you got to look yourself in the mirror. 3rd and 3 with the game on the line and you're running the pass instead of running the clock out. It's going to happen again. You're going to have yourself in a situation where it's 3rd down on 1, 4th down on 1. And either you take the points or you go for it and try to ice the game. These scenarios will happen with the talent that we have on our team. We have to, as an offensive team, take a full advantage of what's in front of us. Yes, that should have been a run. 3rd down should have been a run. 4th down should have been a run. We would have iced the game. Imagine Saquon getting 2 yards on that 3rd down. You know what's coming next. Quarterback sneak. It's not called a tush push. It's the quarterback sneak.
Well, whatever they call it, damn it, we should have did it. That's what we should have did. We should have ran Saquon and then did the quarterback sneak or whatever. But I would have never chose the option where the worst case scenario stops the clock. And like I said, you don't call a play, hoping at the worst case scenario, but you do have to take in consideration what could happen, the consequences of your play call. And I would have never chose an option where the worst case scenario is we stop the clock and give them the ball with time left on there. I just wouldn't done it. I would have ran that clock. And like I said, if we hadn't gotten out, I would have ran it again on 4th down. And you had nothing to lose. You see how deep we were in their territory. Even if we don't get it on 4th down, they get it deep in their own territory, and it's less than a minute to go. And I heard the arguments on Sports Talk about, well, they scored in less than a minute. They couldn't. No, it would have been a different situation. Had they gotten the ball deep in their territory with less than a minute, the pressure would have been turned up. We all know that performance is different depending on the situation. You know how, I'm not saying it wasn't urgent for them because they did score a touchdown in less than a minute, but when they came out on that field,
34 seconds.
See, yeah, 34
I know,
seconds.
that's stuck in my mind too. That's really the thing that has me the most heated is the last drive because I knew we could run the clock all day. That's the one thing you can never say about the Eagles. They know how to run time of possession.
My point being that they came on the field with a minute and 40 something. That's a 2-minute drill. That's no pressure for most NFL teams. You practice 2-minute drills extensively in practice. So it's not a pressure situation. If the pressure would have been turned up had you had to start from your own 5-yard line and you got 30 seconds, 40 seconds to go. Yeah. It's a different performance. Now we see what they're made of. Now we see what kind of kahunas they have. So I would have never, ever passed the ball in that situation. And granted, it was a good play call. It was open. He just dropped it. But I just would not have chosen an option where the worst case scenario would stop to stop the clock. Look, we got some trouble. We're going to end this quarter, but looking ahead, man, we got to talk about what's getting ready to happen, because that's, this loss brings ramifications. It's not a cakewalk like we might have thought coming into the season when we made our predictions about the first 4 games. Now that we've seen some teams play, the New Orleans Saints are not the team that we thought we could beat coming into the season so easily. So let's end this quarter.
And that's the end of the quarter.
All right, you're listening to Eagles Talk, the #1 Eagles coverage show on Facebook. That's by Eagles fans for Eagles fans. And here on Eagles Talk, we'd like to talk about our favorite football team, that is the Philadelphia Eagles. We do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage. And if you're an adult and you're enjoying a beverage, that is an adult beverage. Adult beverage. So partake in whatever you want to, but Pat is doing the Woodford Reserve. Michelle is sipping on some wine, and I'll drink responsibly, but I'm sipping on some Monster. So here we go. Let's salute our Philadelphia Eagles down the hatch. 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the third quarter.
All right, so now we're 1-1. We go on the road to New Orleans. In our preseason schedule prediction, we all picked this as a win. But lo and behold, we did not know that this team would be who they have turned out to be in this short early season. And they are a team that has put up 91 points in 2 games, averaging 40 points, have scored on their first 15 possessions of this season. They played the first game, and the first game, they scored on every possession of the game. They blew out Dallas last week, 44. They put up 44, and now we have to go down there and face them. And we always have trouble in New Orleans. So now we go down to New Orleans and have to face this explosive offense. How do you foresee us doing that? What game plan do we need to adopt? And I'll start with the offense. What game plan do we need to adopt on the offensive side of the ball to make this a successful trip and hopefully have our Eagles bounce back? Starting with you, Pat.
Well, since AJ is going to probably be out this game again also, listen, it's time to use all 3 of your running backs. It's time to figure them into the play call and make it where as though we can run the ball and use that time of possession. This needs to be a game where, we played the Green Bay Packers 2 years ago when we had 41 rushes for almost 300 yards. This is one of those games. We at this point of the junction, we can't get in the shootout with this team that just demolished the Dallas Cowboys turds. Like, we need to make sure we control the time of possession, which is put in favor for us, and make them make mistakes. Make them make mistakes. I mean, I know it's easier said than done, but it's right there in front of your face. Take advantage of the controllables that you can take advantage of. And one of the biggest controllables you can take advantage of is the run game. We can dictate this game just by controlling that line of scrimmage on the offensive side of the ball.
I totally agree. I am a big fan. I was just talking about this too, and I was just thinking back, and I know this is not the era of which I'm about to refer to. But remember those when the run game was a big part of the offense, right? Remember the days where you had running backs and teams knew you were going to run the ball and they still ran it because that's how good they were in the run game. It didn't matter that they put 8 men in the box. And I hate to refer to this team, but the Cow Turds in the 90s, they knew, everybody in the world knew Emmitt Smith was getting the ball. They didn't make them get pass happy. They still ran it down your damn throat. Walter Payton, running backs back then, teams that had running games ran the ball. We have an outstanding running game. Why be scared to run the ball? We're going to need it. I know this is an age of airing it out and exciting electric plays and stuff like that. I'm just worried and concerned about winning the game. That's all. I don't care how it looks. I told you I'll take 17 3-2 games if it gets me to 17-0. I don't care how it looks. And right now against this team, I agree with you, Pat. Our road and path to success against the Saints on Sunday is going to be time of possession and shortening this game and keeping the ball away from the Saints. What do you say, Michelle?
Going back to the offense and the pressure that's on them, because I'm iffy on defense. I agree with how the defense needs to stop them, but it's a scary proposition for me right now, the way the D-line is playing. But I do agree Jalen needs to make better decisions. That play calling, this is what ticks me off. The play calling seemed erratic. It seems like they had some good components. Like the first 3 plays, awesome. I was like, oh, look at the motions. Look at this. It was hella creative. And then all of a sudden, immediately, they went conservative. You can't go for the gusto, then go conservative in your play calling. You have to either crescendo that mess up or crescendo it down. You have to have a rhythm even within your play calling. And one thing I know people are hazing Hurts about the interceptions and the timing, but let's be real, y'all. Interception stats, all the top quarterbacks are always in the top 10 of interceptions. It's a part of being a top quarterback. Pat Mahomes and Jalen Hurts are neck and neck for 2023 interception stats. Josh Allen has like 4 more than both of them. So if you're going to be a top quarterback in this league, your interception stats are going to be high. I don't know who needs to get that memo, but check the stats if you don't believe me. So I'm not worried about the interceptions. I'm worried about the decision making, the play execution, the not getting beat and falling off your routes, and the O-line. And again, what we talked about, Pat, was getting beat at the line of scrimmage. You know, these plays can't develop the way we want them to if our O-line is getting beat off the ball and they're already in the backfield. Everybody has to be accountable, not just the quarterback, but the receivers, the tight ends that are blocking, the running backs when they're not getting the ball. This is a whole team effort. So people have to actually execute. And Jalen has to execute and make better decisions, but his teammates have to execute on their roles as well. It doesn't work unless they all execute equally. One man can't be the only one executing with perfection. Devontae got beat off a couple of routes, and he dropped the ball. So let's be clear about that. They all had breakdowns.
Dropped a touchdown. Yes.
Right in his hands.
So like, Michelle, sometimes I hate to say we need a loss. Sometimes you need a loss so you can examine your shortcomings. Because, say for instance, let's go back to the 07 New England Patriots, right? They went undefeated during the regular season. Their shortcoming is if you have all 4 defensive ends rushing, they can get after the quarterback because they have a slow offensive line. And what did the Giants do? I hate to bring this team up, but what did the Giants do in the Super Bowl? They brought NASCAR package, right? And it became a staple against the Patriots. When you don't lose or you lose, you examine your failures. What can I do to be better? And this is something that I hope motivates a Devontae Smith, because don't get me wrong, I love him. I love him. He's a great pick for us. But something that I have noticed with this Devontae Smith is that he never catches the ball cleanly. Like snags out the air. It always hits his hands, it goes to his shoulder, and it looks like he's dropping it. Many of his big catches, really, if they didn't get to the line of scrimmage, they would be considered drops, right? Remember that. So that's the one thing that's scary about the Slim Reaper. But we need the team to really realize that, you know what? On paper, yes, we are the S. But in real life gameplay, we are the other S, soft.
It's very lackluster, and I think people sleep on the total execution of all the offensive players. It doesn't work any other way, y'all, whether you like it or not. You could blame Jalen all day long because it's easy. The quarterback always knows they have to take the grunt. That's his position. That's his job, is to take the brunt because he is the leader of the offense. But he also he needs to dig in his players' butts a little bit more when they do, because Tom Brady didn't have that from his receivers. They didn't run their route right. I'm not coming back to you.
He never had this type of receiver besides Randy Moss.
But I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
You're right. You're 100% right.
But
You're
still,
100%
Tom
right.
Brady didn't care what level receiver. If you're off your game that day, he's going to the next man that's on his game.
You're right.
He
You're
didn't
100%
even let
right.
you drop the ball more than once before he's like, so you're not going to get your
Demanding
ball today.
excellence.
He demanded
Demanding excellence.
excellence, and that's what Jalen needs to do of his team that he throws the ball to. Demand excellence.
Yes.
I kind of like what you said about maybe a loss is good. I'm taken back to the 2017 season when we dropped that early game, and it seemed to kickstart everything about that was special about that year. I think it was the game against Kansas City. Didn't we lose an early game against Kansas City in that year?
That year we were supposed to win that game. Yep.
Right, and after that, it just they locked in. I'm hoping that can be the same here. Although our defense is not the defense of 2017, but if we can get crisper execution, like you said, on offense, if everyone performs at a level of excellence, because there's no more team game than football. Like football, like you don't have Michael Jordans in football. Your quarterback, even if he's dynamic, is dependent upon those 5 men in front of him, his receivers, everybody. This is the ultimate team game. So we need everyone to perform at their highest level, at the level that we're paying them to perform at. That's what we need. We need everyone to come out and earn their pay. Now I got a comment on the screen. Birdie Bravo says, I just want to look better than the week before. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. 10 wins gets you in the playoffs.
That's true.
Yeah, I agree with that. One up here said, got to tap into Goddard. Yeah, where's Goddard been? That's a good point there. Where has Goddard been? Like,
he's been MIA.
Right. And we're not using the middle of the field with him. That's another thing that ticks me off. You got all these weapons. There should be a play to Goddard every series to me. Real talk. Spread it around. I'd go on 1, 2, 3, 4. Devontae, AJ, Goddard, Saquon. Mix in Jalen once in the blue. But always have them on rotation. Dial them up more frequently.
Yes. You definitely need to dial these guys up and make sure they feel comfortable in this offense, and make sure they get their due diligence in our offense. You also have to make sure that this third receiver, Doxson, who can be a dynamic receiver with the ball in his hands, gets more than one target for 1 or 6 yards. Your third receiver, I know he was given to Britton Covey, and he was getting those hard 1 or 2 yards, but that should open other things up. And that goes back to the offensive coordinator. Offensive coordinator got to scheme these these players' plays. Really got to scheme these players' and understand that getting them involved in the game, they start playing harder.
Yeah. All right, Rachel says I need our quarterback to be
That's
okay
right.
with thinking and dunking occasionally. Yeah, it's all
And
about.
congrats on his engagement.
Oh yeah, congrats on this engagement. But it's okay to move the ball methodically. I know all the glamour and glitz is in the passing game and quick striking, but there's a strategy to these games, and the strategy this week has to be to move the ball methodically and eat up that clock. And we have the offensive line, I believe. We have the running back to do that. Let me see. Can I see Jalen under center a little bit more? I mean,
Please, I'll be tired of the shotgun.
That's where the play action is more effective. If you got Saquon eating up 9 yards a pop as he was doing in the first half on Monday night, put him under center. They're already sold on Saquon. Can we get a play action?
Yeah, they are.
8 men in the box. We can't get a play action. Can he get under center? We get a play action. Come on, man.
Saquon's going to have over 2,000 yards rushing, close to 2,600 yards total offense, and we're still going to try to not give him the ball.
Make it make sense. And here's the thing, when we don't go under center and we're in shotgun formation, that gives the defense more time to get back there. That's why most of our plays that don't go well, he's in shotgun and not under center if you pay attention.
Well, that's the problem, Ted. It's that he says, is our offense geared to attack the middle of the field? In my opinion, our offense is schemed to attack outside the numbers and deep. Because, and I agree with that.
That was our offense. That was our offense last year. This year, there has been plays that was designed for middle of the field, especially that week 1 game against the Packers, which was a whole different type of offense with the motion and the players crossing and staying and moving to the middle of the field. There were plays in the middle of the field that were wide open that, we didn't take full advantage of. If you go back and look at this tape, there were some dink or dunk plays over the middle to the running back, to Gainwell, who came in the game a handful of times, that we didn't get the ball to him. This is stuff that develops over time. And Dark Knight, you might be 100% right. Not playing, well, you are right. Not playing these players in preseason, they're still not in tune with each other. They're not in tune with each other in unpredictable situations. Because during preseason and during these practices against other teams, you're in predictable situations. In game time, you're in unpredictable situations, and you have to be being comfortable in unpredictable situations as an offensive coordinator, as a quarterback, and as a player.
Yeah.
And they're not that yet.
And you would think with a new center that we would be under center more than having him be a long snapper. Come on, y'all just, you're not giving him a chance to get comfortable. So how do you make a new center comfortable? Get him under center more. Get him with the basics first. You feel me? Before he has to continuously long snap. That it makes zero sense to me. That just seems unwise.
Another thing that I like with the run game, and we talked about it, I forget what year it was specifically, might have been the Super Bowl year 17, but to start the game off by establishing the run accomplishes a lot of things, right?
Yes, it does.
It gets the offensive line men off to a great start when they're firing out and they're throwing the first punch instead of retreating, right? They get in the flow, right? It does that, and it just kickstarts the offense. A lot of things can come out of a solid run game. As dynamic as our offense looked with Carson Wentz, the run game was what drove that whole thing. It was the most important facet of that offense that year. So you can still have your high-flying aerial attack, but everything on this team's identity on offense has got to be Saquon and the ground game. It's got to start there, and then everything branches out after that. It has to start there.
Yes.
Let's end this quarter.
I agree with that.
And that's the end of the quarter.
All right, that's in the third quarter. You are listening to Eagles Talk, the #1 Eagles coverage show around. That's on Facebook. That is for Eagles fans, by Eagles fans. I'm all backwards. By Eagles fans, for Eagles fans. And here on Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team, that is the Philadelphia Eagles. We do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. Pat's doing the Woodford Reserve. Michelle's sipping on some wine, and I'm sipping on a Monster. So let's go. Look, I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate and toast our Philadelphia Eagles and get ready for this Sunday game. So everybody, down the hatch. 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the fourth quarter.
All right, what's the you guys out there? Let me know in the chat room. What is the confidence level of you guys going into this Sunday 1:00, first 1:00 game, first game that's not in prime time this week? That's a good thing, right? First game, 1:00 on the road. What is your level of confidence going into this game, knowing what we have to face, knowing how we looked on Monday, and a short week?
You want me to be honest?
Yeah. Be completely transparent and honest. No.
All right, listen, we got punched in the mouth. We had a plan, and we got punched in the mouth. We put together a plan and got laughed. Listen, all the different analogies you want to use, it happened last week. All right, it happened last week. So my confidence level is still high for this team. I'm still bullish on this team because I believe with the talent and the ability of these players, even with our best player, yes, AJ Brown on the field makes this team 10 times more unstoppable than with him off the field. And so therefore it makes it harder for a defensive coordinator to come up with a scheme to stop this defense, as you can see in the first week. Now, with that being said, it is I am fully confident in my Philadelphia Eagles to come back and show me something because of Jalen Hurts, because of a Saquon Barkley, because of a Lane Johnson, who are these captains that are going to say, you know what, fellas, it's time for us to step up and play the part. Now, what kind of gets me like this is who do we have on that side of the defense besides Brandon Graham that can step in as a third captain or a second captain on defense and say, let's do it. You scratch the guy that can build the confidence of everybody else. I truly believe Devin White is that guy. As much as I want Nakobe Dean to succeed, as much as I want Jeremiah Trotter Jr. to be that next X-Man, Devin White, I believe, with the veteran leadership that he has had, Super Bowl under his belt, being a top tier linebacker in this league, can get after. I'm really thinking that was something that he's flipped on these defensive players because they were lazy and the coach didn't like that. I think I may be wrong.
I mean, I hear you. I disagree because he ain't playing defensive line. He can fly all around the place. We've seen DeBorn fly all around the place. We've seen Dean fly all around the place. That D line sucks.
It does.
You can have linebackers fly all over the place. That's not going to make Jordan Davis play better.
But you know what?
You need those. I just got finished saying this is the ultimate team sport. Those linebackers can't do it without the D linemen doing their job, and they're not doing their job.
And you're 100% right. You know what you do? You play a Thomas Booker who had 9 snaps.
Yes.
9 total snaps. Michelle, he had 9 total snaps last week. He had more tackles for loss and quarterback hits than the whole defensive line besides Melton Williams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good point.
Snaps. Therefore, you know what you got to do? You got to
play him.
Boys. You got to sit these guys.
Sit them. Sit them until they want to hold it up.
Until they realize that, you know what? This is the flipping NFL. If I don't bring my A game every Sunday,
I'm going to be riding that pine.
Yeah,
that's right.
Just because you play the best players possible. If that has to be Thomas Booker and Milton Williams, every single doggone. I keep saying Milton. I see Melton, whatever. Milton Williams, every freaking doggone down. If they're effective, you play.
They're defective. Rachel, you hit it right on the nose. This is the comment of the night. Rachel says, "Yeah, the Georgia boys are defective."
Yeah, we got receipts.
Is there a recall on?
Man, no, this boy Nolan Smith, man, he has the physical body to be one of the greatest. He has no pass rush move whatsoever.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. Like, you have the ability to be a top-notch defensive rush and / outside linebacker. If you learn how to use your hands, you learn how to bend, and you know how to do the different things, call Aaron Donald. I don't get it. If I was in the NFL,
everybody is defective along it.
I would call the best players ever in these positions. How do I do this? I need your help.
Listen,
everybody is defective.
Joyner.
I would call, if I was a linebacker, I would call Seth Joyner.
I would have Seth, Ike, who else? Trotter.
Hugh.
I would have OG. The OGs are here. Hugh, have them come in for some sessions. Be like, listen, we're going to get some old school tutelage. You got people right here. B-Dog. You could bring in some serious OGs that played under Buddy Ryan, played under Jim Johnson to give that tutelage in your locker room. You have them here. How do you not use your OG players, talent to come in the locker room and help you bring that culture, to bring that vibe. I would still utilize them. Now it could be a way of maybe the coach's philosophy doesn't mesh with the OG players. Either way, I would be getting that tutelage from them. I really would. And if I was the organization and if I was Howie, I'd be calling all of them up. Hey, we're gonna have some defensive meetings with you guys. You think you guys can come to practice? Listen, we'll pay you whatever. Just come and get with the boys for the next 30 days. Just
Now,
give us a month.
Let me
with
tell
you guys.
I totally agree with that. The problem with that is you can have these guys come in and teach them that, but you can't teach heart. You can't teach effort.
Y'all just went back
That's
to
what you can't teach. You can't teach that. And these guys are not displaying heart and effort. That you can't teach. You got to come with that. Now, if you come with the heart and the effort, we can turn you into a great player. But you got to at least show up with that. You got to show up with the heart and the effort. We can teach you, if you got the physical, the physical stature, we can teach you the rest. But you got to at least bring the heart and the effort. And I'm not seeing that, man. It's horrible. Bryce Huff we need to return Bryce Huff.
Stupid.
That crazy.
That's crazy what you just said, Dark Knight, because you said the heart of the players. You could teach them all this. And that goes back to what I said earlier. And I know Nichelle said something awesome about the coaching these guys up and developing them. But at the same time, it all depends on the players. The coach can teach you. You can have the absolute best. Reggie Wright can come out as great today and be resurrected and say, I'm going to teach you, young fella, how to be the best defensive end ever. Right? We can also have Bruce Smith there. We can also bring, the best defensive tackles, Aaron Donald. You name them, to teach these guys. What happens is when you're on that as field, just like an exam, it's not them no more. It's what they taught you, and that heart that you have, the desire to be great needs to come out. We can have Ray Lewis as our defensive coordinator right now.
Yeah, it don't mean nothing. It
don't mean nothing, and these players don't go out there and play with a doggone heart.
And this, I hate to pull the age card, but this generation, man, you can't talk to them mean, man. I mean, you don't want to hurt their feelings. You know what I mean? They might hurt their feelings, man. You can't bring Hugh Douglas back. You can't bring. He might hurt their feelings. Are you kidding me?
Seth
he might shatter.
Seth is more likely to hurt feelings than Hugh.
Yeah, well, Seth too. Yeah, we can't take the chance of bringing Seth in here and he crushing their spirits. We're living in a time where these guys are sensitive, and I'm joking half-heartedly, right? But that's the way they look on the field. Hopefully, they aren't that way. I'm assuming that they're grown men, that they take pride in it, but I'm just not seeing it applied to the field. Now, one of the things that I do hold out optimism for is that this is a long season, and we're learning. And they're learning, and hopefully with each week we see them get a little bit better, right? Hopefully we see Kellen Moore adapt his play calling to what he has, because he's a kid with a new toy, right? And he hasn't had it that long. You know what I mean? So he's still learning these pieces that he has and stuff like that. I like what I've seen in the early going. I just need him to be more consistent with it and develop his flow with this team, because you can be a great play caller, but you have to adapt to the personnel you have. This is not the personnel he had in Los Angeles. This is definitely not that personnel. This personnel is a lot different, a lot better, and he's going to have to adapt and grow into the personnel he has. So I'm looking for improvement there. Vic has a tougher job because he has players here that I don't see a lot of heart from.
You know what?
I don't know how you teach that.
I do agree with you with the Vic part, but you have a guy that I think is going to be a cornerstone of the defense and the cornerback, and Q. Q has lived up to the hype. I wish Go cry in the corner. I wish right now that I was the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator of this Philadelphia Eagles team, because they have the talent. It's like you said, Dark Knight. It's the heart. I'm gonna read this comment because this is hilarious. From Jeremiah Andrews.
He ain't playing.
FA Phillips, go cry, quit. But we pay you to play with pride. You are playing for the MF Eagles. Go make a name for yourself, or go sit your ears on a bench and let someone else do it. That's 100.
That's 1,000.
100. That is 100, man. We getting paid.
Keeping it a buck.
We get paid $51 million. If I got paid $51 million to do a job every weekend, one job every weekend. Listen, excuse my language. I'm going against a 6'7" tackle. I'm nut shotting his. I hit him in his kneecaps. I'm biting his ankles. Listen, I'm trying to get to that quarterback. I'm gonna make it happen.
He said you're biting his ankles.
Look, Robin has a great comment. I'm surprised we haven't touched on this, but you need a head coach that puts the fear of God in the players in Philly, right? A buddy type, right? How much of this is Sirianni on Sirianni's shoulders? We already talked about the coaching decision. I heard, who was that? Dan Orlovsky talk about,
or the other one.
Or Orlovsky on
Dan
ESPN.
Orlovsky. Yep.
Talked about the fact that he doesn't trust Nick making coaching decisions in tight situations, and I kind of agree with him. Not only that, when you talk about a lack of heart or such, or soft, or you use an adjective like soft, doesn't your team embody the head coach's personality?
Yes and no. And it's not just all on Nick, to be honest with you. It's if you have to go back to what happened with Chip Kelly. Feel me? So not having that coach.
You brought up that name.
Right. So not having that coach that had that level of control, if you will, of a team and an organization. And when they had one, it kind of bit them in the butt. And so their knee-jerk reaction is to get company men as coaches, not coaches that were going to put their stamp on it and have their own identity. That's Howie and Jeffrey. That's not on Nick. He just wants the job. You feel me?
Yeah, I feel you.
And you know what? He's Philadelphia.
With Doug. And let me tell you something. Nick ain't no punk. Let's
no, he's clear. Not. He's Philadelphia.
He played college ball. He was no punk in college ball. I watched him play in a championship because he played Rowan and out in Ohio. I remember Mount Union, and he was a yapper.
I was going to Mount Union.
Trash. He played hard. He's no punk. So
yeah.
So if they're taking on that personality, they're not listening to him, because Nick Sirianni is no punk.
But you know what? The way Nick coaches and the way he does all his antics, that's Philadelphia. That's literally, if you go to South Philly right now, you can find 20 different Nick Siriannis, and they all do the same doggone
all
thing.
through South Philly.
But all right, do you want to talk about Philly? Right, Philly can recognize real, game recognize
definitely
game, right?
does.
So you get your people out there that talk the talk and they back it up, right? You confront them and they talk the talk and they throw hands and they go and back it up. Then you got those that are really loud, right? They talking tough, but when you press them, you find out that they not who they say they were, right? You know what I mean? I don't know. Nick has been talking and flailing his arms and stuff like that, and has the team decided, like, man, this boy, he ain't.
So if he gets in the fight next game because
he ain't for the team, dude, man. I'm tired of this guy talking all the time, and he not about what he saying he about. I don't know, but this team needs to do something. I'm not completely sold on Nick's decision making, because I'm going to hang those two calls, crucial calls that I thought on Monday night not going. That was ballsy. That was being too cute. My son is here, and we talked about the game, and he likened it to his play on Madden. He was like, "That was they were just being cocky." I'm gonna be honest. He said that's something I would do on Madden when I didn't respect the other team. If I didn't respect who I was playing, I would go for it on 4th and 3 when I could take a field goal. He said, and that 3rd and 3, that's some cocky stuff. That's something I would do playing an opponent I didn't respect. I'm just going to, let me just throw it right here. He said, but if I'm playing somebody I respect, I'm not throwing the ball there. I would never throw the ball right there. I'm running it. He said that was us being cocky.
So we want Soft Nick back. So when he was Soft Nick, watered in the flowers, we made it to the Super Bowl. But
not
y'all
cocky,
hated him
smart.
for being soft. But now that Nick's, on his cockiness, and he's not talking about water and flowers, so we want the emotional, intelligent Nick. It seems like what we're really saying. We want the guy that's philosophical. And
we want that guy that's quiet
and having you buy into the system. So let's just say that's what we really want. I pride myself in my EQ. You can have a high EQ and still be cocky. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. You can have a high EQ and still be cocky. I'm just saying being intelligent is a part of self-awareness. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
You can be cocky and have a high EQ. But look, we got to get out of here, man. We're gonna pray for the best. That's what we're going to do. We're going to pray for the team
best. 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
No. No Diddy for real on that.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. I'm sorry.
All right, look, we'll be back here at 12 o'clock Sunday morning. Everybody come back here because we're going to need everybody on all hands on deck.
Vote.
Yes, all hands on deck. Be here at 12 o'clock so we can get ready to watch our Eagles go down New Orleans and pull an upset. I'm calling it now. We're going down New Orleans without AJ, and this is a Vegas prediction.
We're really
because all the money going to be on.
Seriously?
Yeah, we're not going to have.
So AJ has. I know we got to end the show, but AJ has a situation with his tightness in his hamstring, and he's at the phase where his heel is healing. It's going to be a little bit good. It's going to be tender,
but not good enough to
do the things that he could do.
And you don't play with hamstrings. A hamstring is no joke. You do not. You have to give them their time because it could feel good, and as soon as you go to stretch it, boom, it's back. So he's got to take the time on that. He may not be back till after the bye. So we definitely got to hold it down. So my Vegas prediction is all the money's going to be on the Saints. So we're going to win. All right. So come back on Sunday.
Going to New Orleans. I know a lot of people going down there. April Lee and all. Shout out to y'all, man. Represent for Philly.
Dion's going to be in the area. All right. We're out. We will see you guys on Sunday. I'm your man, Dark Knight, for my co-host, Nichelle and Pat. We'll see you guys Sunday. We're out. Peace.